Hello and welcome to Workers' Comp Unwrapped, the podcast that simplifies workers' compensation for physicians. I'm your host, Max, here to give you clear, actionable insights to navigate the medical legal side of workers' comp. So, let's get started. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 12 of Workers' Comp Unwrapped with Anique, your host, and Angela, our guest who brings, 15 years of experience in the industry.
Great to be here.
Today we are talking about electronic signatures, simplifying workers' comp documentation. Basically, we're doing a deep dive to explore AB 2337's electronic signature rule.
And its massive impact, really, on streamlining documentation.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, it is a change we have needed for, 2 decades. If you, our listener, are still dealing with that bureaucratic nightmare, chasing wet ink signatures.
Oh, the wet ink chase. I know it well.
Right. Or, God forbid, suffering the indignity of a fax machine just chewing up a crucial request for authorization, then this deep dive is definitely your guide to liberation.
Absolutely. Our mission today is, pretty straightforward. We want to cut through all the legal jargon and explain precisely why AB 2337 isn't just some technical update. It's actually a critical piece of regulatory leverage.
It really is.
Designed to combat inefficiency and, let's be honest, accelerate payments in California workers' compensation.
Precisely. I mean, the core message here is that electronic signatures are now officially recognized. They're enforceable.
Okay.
And they must be treated as the legal equivalent of paper documentation. That's the bottom line.
So it's a game changer for speed.
It can be a game changer for speed, but the key, and this is really important, the key to actually realizing those benefits lies entirely in compliance.
Aha. There's always a catch in workers' comp.
Isn't there? Get the system right, though, and you could save months of administrative time. Get it wrong.
We're back in the rejection loop.
Exactly, back where you started.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We've been hearing about digital processes for years now. Why did California workers' comp specifically need AB 2337? What foundational element did this law finally clarify?
Well, it basically removed the ambiguity. That's the big thing. Before AB 2337, while general business law allowed e-signature.
Right, like for contracts and stuff.
Exactly. But workers' comp, being its own unique regulatory beast, often lagged behind. You had certain claims administrators, even some judges, who held this, let's say, conservative view that a document just lacked full legal standing unless there was a physical wet ink signature on it. AB 2337 makes it definitively clear. Electronic signatures are valid. They're enforceable. Across the board. In all workers' compensation documentation.
Okay, so the law is finally forcing parity between paper and digital.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But what standards define a valid signature in this context? It can't just be typing your name, right?
Oh, definitely not. It's not simply like a scribble on a tablet screen either.
Yeah.
Validity is defined by sticking to dual legal standards.
Dual standards.
Okay. You have to satisfy the requirements of the California Uniform Electronic Transactions Act, that's UETA.
UETA, got it.
And the Federal e-sign Act. So if your platform doesn't meet the frankly rigorous non-repudiation and security standards of both of those acts,
then the signature might not hold up if challenged.
Exactly. It won't hold up. It's that simple.
Yeah. And what documents are covered here? We know RFAs are a huge component. That's often where the delays happen. But what else?
Oh, it's pretty much everything necessary to move a claim forward. We are definitely talking about requests for authorization, RFAs, those critical documents we all love to hate.
Indeed.
Which were, often the primary target for those signature-based rejections. But it also applies to high-value stuff like med legal reports.
Okay.
Any legal assignments, and of course all your standard billing submissions and, any subsequent appeals. It's comprehensive.
This really sounds system-wide then. Does this mandate compliance only for, say, the medical provider and the injured worker? Or does it reach further up the chain, into the claims process itself?
Oh, it absolutely reaches further. That's the intent. The rule is meant to compel system-wide digital adoption. So it applies to providers, sure, but also to attorneys and crucially to claims administrators.
So the payers too.
Yes. If a carrier or an adjuster tries to reject a compliant e-sign document now, they are directly contravening statute. They're breaking the law.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a bit controversial, as you said. Let's talk about the specific pain points AB 2337 alleviates. What were some of the most common, maybe frankly absurd, signature-related delaying tactics you saw carriers use before this rule change?
Oh gosh, the list is kind of endless, but they all cost providers time and money, right? The classics included rejecting a document because, get this, the signature was deemed illegible when faxed.
Illegible when faxed.
Seriously. Or the notorious illegally transmitted rejection. This happened because the document was signed before the date it was transmitted,
Okay.
implying somehow that the signer couldn't possibly have intended that transmission. It's ridiculous.
That is just classic procedural friction, isn't it? Designed purely to slow things down.
Exactly. Or my personal favorite, the subtle demand for original blue ink, you know? Since the old system was just so clunky, print, sign, scan, fax, wait, store.
All 9 yards.
All that friction just created massive workflow drag, and it provided endless excuses for delay.
So if we step back a bit, this change isn't just about saving toner or paper.
Not at all.
It's fundamentally about leverage for the provider, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can you maybe detail the core benefits that truly matter in the context of actual workers' comp disputes?
Yeah, absolutely. There are basically 4 key advantages that specifically attack the old system's weaknesses. First, and maybe most obviously, accelerated claim timelines.
Right.
E-signatures just eliminate that multi-day float time you get with physical mail, scanning, fax confirmations. It shrinks the whole authorization cycle. Second, ironclad non-repudiation.
Non-repudiation. Okay, that sounds legal.
It is. Compliance systems build these really comprehensive audit trails that are far more verifiable than wet ink ever was, and that's a crucial defense if things end up in litigation.
Non-repudiation is definitely the lawyer's favorite word. What are the other 2 benefits?
Okay. Third is massive cost and space savings. This sounds obvious, but people often overlook it. You're reducing paper handling, toner costs, the physical footprint required for that mandated, 5 to 7 year physical storage?
Right, those file rooms.
Exactly. And fourth, and I think this is maybe most important for provider morale, is dispute deterrence.
Preventing the fight before it starts.
Precisely. The built-in audit trails and that UETA sign compliance, they dramatically reduce the adjuster's ability to just generate signature-based rejections out of thin air. That saves huge administrative time on resubmissions and appeals.
That deterrence factor, that feels like the true value proposition here. No longer can carriers just use the lack of wet ink as a sort of pretextual reason to delay a payment or an authorization. This shifts the argument immediately to the clinical necessity, right, where it should have been all along.
It absolutely does, provided you follow the rules of engagement.
Right. Since this is workers' compensation, we know compliance is absolutely paramount. You mentioned the signature has to be legally robust. Beyond just, say, using DocuSign, what actually makes an e-signature legally compliant under UETA and eSign 2? What are the checks?
Well, when the rules were written, they mandated 4 kind of non-negotiable checks. These are to ensure trust and integrity. First, the system must uniquely identify the signer.
Okay, identity verification.
Right. It needs robust identity confirmation. Second, it has to confirm intent to sign. The mechanism must clearly show that the individual took a deliberate affirmative action, like not just an accidental click confirming they are adopting that record as their own.
Makes sense. And since we're dealing with high-stakes legal and medical documents, security has got to be the third check, right?
Absolutely. Third, and this is where we get a little technical, the platform must maintain a comprehensive and verifiable audit trail.
Okay, more than just a timestamp.
Oh, way more than just a date and timestamp. It needs to include really granular data points, things like the IP address, unique device identifiers, and ideally, it should utilize cryptographic hashing or maybe public key infrastructure, PKI, standards.
Cryptographic hashing.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're really talking tech. Why is that specific technical detail necessary? What makes that better than just having a date stamp?
Great question. Because a simple date stamp can potentially be manually altered, right? Yep. Or the metadata could maybe be copied. Cryptographic hashing ensures true non-repudiation.
There's that word again.
There it is. The hash creates a unique digital fingerprint of the document at the exact moment of signing. If even one single pixel is changed later, the hash fails. That proves the document was tampered with after the signature was applied.
Okay.
This integrity check is what gives the electronic document its weight in court. It proves it hasn't been messed with.
That level of security really prevents disputes, or at least should. So let's say someone just pastes a picture of their signature into a PDF, or they just type S followed by their name into a Word document. That obviously fails. Which of the 4 checks does that fail?
Yeah, that fails pretty spectacularly. It fails the intent check, arguably, and definitely the audit check simultaneously.
Okay.
It just lacks that provable linked record of the signing event itself, and it certainly doesn't have the necessary cryptographic proof that the signature was affixed by that unique individual at that specific time.
Right.
You need that robust system to prove it wasn't just, some staff member typing in a doctor's name, which is why these compliant platforms are basically mandatory now.
Let's pivot a bit to the practical challenges then. AD 2337 applies to claims administrators too, you said. But what if a large carrier or, say, a third-party administrator is just slow or resistant to modernizing their own intake systems? How does the provider avoid getting stuck in some kind of digital limbo?
Yeah, this is the crucial real-world friction, isn't it? While the law mandates recognition, it doesn't magically retrofit every single archaic carrier server overnight.
Unfortunately not.
So if a provider submits a document via a UEDA signing compliant method, maybe through an integrated clearinghouse or a major platform like DocuSign, and the carrier rejects it, demanding wet ink,
What then?
well, the provider now has real legal leverage.
So what should the provider actually do in that moment?
First, document the rejection meticulously. Then, explain clearly, maybe in writing, that the document meets the statutory requirements of AB 2337. You should even cite the UED sign standard, and then just resubmit immediately.
Be persistent.
Absolutely. If the carrier still persists after that, they are potentially exposing themselves to penalties for improperly delaying the claim based on a formally abolished pretext. The law provides the shield. Providers just need the courage to actually use it.
That implies providers need to be thoroughly trained, though. Not just on how to click the sign button, but on how to actually push back legally when needed.
Exactly. Training is key.
Okay, so let's give our listeners a practical checklist. Maybe a few action items for adapting their practice right now.
Okay, sounds good. Beyond just adopting a UED e-sign compliant platform, like DocuSign or maybe an integrated EHR signature module, there are probably 4 key steps. First, thorough staff training.
Right, you just mentioned that.
Yeah, make sure everyone understands the difference between a compliant e-signature and just like a simple graphic. And focus heavily on how to generate and crucially verify the audit trail.
Training on the verification part seems critical, so they can prove it if challenged.
Definitely. Second, standardize and automate workflows. Don't leave signature decisions up to individual staff members guessing. Formalize which documents get signed digitally, and build those processes directly into your billing or practice management software if you can.
Makes sense. Consistency. What about third and fourth?
Okay, third, secure record retention. And I mean secure. Do not rely on just external email systems or something flimsy like that. Signed documents, complete with their verifiable audit metadata, must be saved and securely backed up within your EHR or billing platform. You need tamper-proof, long-term storage.
Got it. And fourth?
Fourth, internal auditing. Just occasionally spot check your own signed documents. Proactively ensure the required metadata and audit trail were properly generated before a claim administrator forces you to prove it. You need to verify your own compliance first.
This whole conversation, it really feels like we're finally retiring some of the most frustrating communication methods known to the workers' comp industry.
About time, right?
I mean, I'm personally thrilled we might be moving past the era where we had to depend on physical machines designed primarily for paper jams.
Oh, me too. It almost brings a tear to my eye, frankly, to know that providers might never again have to hear that desperate, archaic phrase like, we're waiting for the courier to deliver the signed form to the central processing facility.
Exactly. It forces the entire conversation forward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This move toward digitization, really enabled by AB 2337, it establishes electronic signatures as the non-negotiable standard now.
That really is the big picture takeaway here. This legislation fundamentally speeds up processing, it dramatically reduces administrative costs, and critically, it eliminates those flimsy, signature-based excuses for claims delays that have plagued the system for years.
Yeah.
So as long as you, the listener, maintain that robust UED e-sign compliant audit trail, you are legally protected.
This really is one of those rare regulatory updates that genuinely seems to simplify life for the provider, which is nice for a change.
It really is.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, AB 2337 makes inefficiency harder to justify for everyone involved, right?
Right.
Including the largest claims administrators.
Yeah.
It provides a clear statutory pathway to push back against that old paper-based conservatism. So this raises an important question for the entire system, maybe something for you to think about. If we can finally overcome the hurdle of the signature, what is the next and perhaps most daunting antiquated requirement in the workers' comp cycle that really should be mandated for digitization next?
Ooh, that's a fantastic thought to leave our listeners chewing on. Where do we go from here? The fight for efficiency definitely continues.
Indeed it does. Well, that's it for this deep dive. Thank you for tuning in to Workers' Comp Unwrapped. We'll see you next time when we tackle another crucial compliance challenge. Thanks for listening to Workers' Comp Unwrapped. If you found value in today's episode, subscribe and share with fellow doctors. Stay informed and keep making a difference in your patients' care.